Hey guys, it's Heather here, and today I'm bringing you my Town Hall 11 Bowitch attack guide. Now this is an attack that I've been using for several weeks. I use it for farming and of course for war attacks, and I've been able to get quite a few Town Hall 11 triples under my belt, and so I wanted to share with you the tips and tricks that I use to guarantee a successful attack. This is also an attack that you can use as Town Hall 11s if you want to dip down on Town Hall 10s, and I'm still able to get 3 stars against max Town Hall 11s, even with the update to Infernos. So to start off, let's talk about the troop composition. I use 19 bowlers, 5 witches, 5 healers, 2 wizards, 4 wall breakers, 1 jump, 4 rage, and a poison. Now, all that can change depending on the base. I might switch something up. Maybe if I need to take 2 jumps, I'm not going to take wall breakers. So there's your start army, and then maybe switch it up a little bit depending on the base that you're attacking. Now, for your clan castle troops, that's going to depend on the inferno situation on the base. So if you have single target infernos, you're going to want to use giants in your clan castle. And if there are multi-target infernos, you're going to want to use a golem with a giant. Now, if the base has a single target inferno plus a multi-target inferno, then I base my clan castle troops on which inferno I'm going to attack first. So if I'm heading in against a multi-target inferno, then I'm going to take a golem. If I'm going against a single, I'll take a giant. I feel this is a really good attack army for just about any type of Town Hall 11 base design. The only thing you may need to change up is dropping a rage and taking an extra jump. If the base has a lot of compartments to it and it's going to take your army a long time to be able to break through those high level walls, some base layouts are going to be much more difficult to use this attack against, but usually you're going to be able to find some angle that you can approach the base at where you're going to be able to get your army inside. So let's go over the basic steps of this attack, and then I'll break down those steps into more detail. You're going to start off the attack with a very short queen walk, and as the queen approaches the entry point, you're going to start a funnel on the opposite side using 4 to 6 bowlers. Once you've done that, you're going to drop your clan castle, the rest of your bowlers, your 5 witches, and your barbarian king at the entry point for your attack, and then also drop your wall breakers to break them in. As your army heads into the base, you're going to drop a jump for them to be able to get further into the base. You're going to drop a poison on the clan castle troops as they come out. You're going to use your Grand Warden ability as you see giant bombs starting to go off, or as your army is approaching the clan castle troops or multi-target infernos. That's when you're going to use the Grand Warden ability kind of early on, and you're going to use rage spells as needed to keep your army pushing through the base. Then once the base is starting to get cleared out and you see some free spots where you can drop those 2 wizards, find them and start them on cleanup duty. So there you go. That's the basics of the attack. Now let's break it down. The first thing you want to determine is what is your essential target for your main army. What is that one thing that is going to prevent you from getting the 3rd star? And that building is the eagle. The reason for that is the one building that you cannot save your queen from. If that eagle is left standing, eventually it's going to target your queen, and your queen is the key to being able to get the 3rd star. So this attack is all about keeping that queen alive, keeping her ability as long as possible, and making sure that you take out things that are going to kill her. So that's the eagle first, and it's single target inferno second. So once you know that you need to make sure that that eagle gets taken down, that gives you probably 2 sides that you could approach the base from. If your army goes in from one of those 2 sides, they're going to take out the eagle pretty early on. Of course, there's always going to be exceptions, but for the most part, you're going to be able to look at the base and see that there are 2 joined sides where you can approach the eagle from either one and be able to get it early on. So if that is the case, that means it does not matter which direction your archer queen goes in the queen walk. So this means you're going to have 2 plans for what you're going to do depending on which side she walks down. But it means you're not going to have to use push troops, funnel troops to push her in one direction. It means that if she decides, even after the push troops, that she's going to double back and go the other way, that's totally fine. It doesn't matter. You will already have a game plan for where you're going to drop your funnel troops and your wall breakers and your army and your jump spells, depending on which side she approaches from. This is a really good habit to get into, to be able to adapt to what your archer queen is doing and not scramble mid-attack when your archer queen starts doing something you were not expecting her to do. Now, the other thing you want to try and avoid is sending your army against 2 multi-target infernos at the same time. I've done it. Sometimes you have to do it in order to get that eagle. The eagle's number 1, and then if you can, try to just approach 1 inferno at a time. If you're using this attack as a 2-star attack, make sure that your target area is going against the town hall. This army will be able to get you that 50% no problem. Make sure that you're not attacking on the opposite side of the base from the town hall, so that if something goes wrong, you guarantee yourself that you still get that 2nd star. Now, there's some other things you want to avoid. You want to be sure that you're not sending your main part of your army into a giant bomb field that's on the outside. Kill your army right off the bat. Make sure that where you're sending your wall breakers is not going against a bomb tower or a wizard tower. And if mortars are firing, make sure you've seen a mortar hit before you drop your wall breakers, because this attack is dead if you do a wall breaker fail, if you do not break through that first layer wall. So if there is any chance that you're going to have a wall breaker fail, drop one of your rages, drop your wall breakers, take a jump, and then take an extra bowler and a minion and forget about the wall breakers altogether. It is not worth the risk of either trying to delay your wall breakers going through or sending your wall breakers too early and having that wall break fail. You have to get through that wall. So if, like I said, if you're worried about it at all, if you're new to the attack, just use a jump to get through the first layer. Now that you've determined where you're going to place your archer queen, go ahead and drop her and drop the 5 healers behind her. I like to wait until the archer queen starts to take fire before I drop the Grand Warden, or at least put him pretty far back. I've had a couple of instances where he snuck up a little bit too close to an archer tower and starts getting sniped. You don't want your Grand Warden to get hit. Make sure he's far back behind the archer queen and send him along with your archer queen. The reason for this is he gives your archer queen additional health, plus he helps to take down those buildings faster. A huge part of the reason you are not going to push your queen in one direction or the other is time and troops. You don't want to spend, 10 troop space, 20 troop space pushing your archer queen to one side, and then go ahead and spend another 30 troop space to get your bowlers to funnel the other side. We're just going to use the archer queen and the Grand Warden and save a lot of time and save that troop space. A lot of the times you'll see a Bowitch attack fail to get the 3rd star because they run out of time. There are so many buildings on a Town Hall 11. The walls have a lot of hit points, so it takes a lot of time to be able to 3-star a Town Hall 11 base. So you really don't have the time to do a queen charge, break your queen in, use funneling troops and make it look all nice and fancy. You've got to be able to get that queen walk done really fast. So because of this, you're keeping your queen on the outside for multiple reasons. You're not using wall breakers to break her in. This is going to take too long for the attack. It means you're going to have to use her ability as she starts taking on more and more point defenses. You want to save that ability as long as you possibly can. And you're going to have to use rages to keep her up. So keep her on the outside and just have her being targeted by like 1 or 2 point defenses at a time. You also really don't want her dealing with the clan castle on her own. The reason for this is it takes a lot of time. You're going to have to use extra rage spells to be able to have her survive, and you might end up popping her ability as well. It's just not worth it. You want to take on that clan castle with the main part of your army. A big factor to you being able to 3-star the base is being able to save your queen ability. So you're going to use rage spells. Even if you use 2 rage spells on your queen during the queen walk, that's far better than using her ability. You want to save that ability for later on when she doesn't have healers on her anymore, or she's going against a single target inferno. So watch how she's doing. If she's going to be taking on 2-point defenses, a cannon and an archer tower, or an X-bows firing on her, you're not going to want to wait until her health gets down into the orange and the red before you put a rage on her. Have your finger on the rage spell so that as her health starts to decline, you know she's going to be taking on 2-point defenses for more than just a couple of seconds. Go ahead and drop that rage spell to cover both her and the healers so that she can take out that point defense defense and be able to get through without you having to waste her ability. For a successful attack, your army has to be together. That includes the queen and the Grand Warden and the healers. They have to meet up with the main part of your army. So be sure that your queen is definitely heading in the direction you think she's heading in, and then there's no possible way she's going to double back before you start your funnel troops. So once your queen is just about right to where you want to start the main part of your attack, drop anywhere from 4 to 6 bowlers on the other side. They're going to start a funnel for your main army. You want a good chunk of bowlers to make sure they're getting a good piece of that corner down, because the main part of your army is going to want to stay on the outside. You have to make sure you're going to cut off their escape route from continuing around the outside and force them to go in. So this main part of your army is going to be first dropping your clan castle troop, followed behind them with more bowlers. You're going to space those out slightly, not a full wall length, but give them a little bit of space. Behind them, drop your king, drop your witches in a pack the witches together, bowlers have a bit of spread, and then make sure that your wall breakers are going to be safe, that they're going to be able to get through. They're not going to run into a wizard or a bomb tower or mortar or bombs, but don't want to hold them back too long. The reason for this is if your troops start to take out those bait buildings that are in the center of where you want them to enter, and those buildings are now gone, even if you get your wall breakers in, that army is going to be gone to the outside, because you've basically created this reverse funnel where you've taken a big divot out of the center of where they're supposed to be entering, and the buildings on the outside that your 5 bowlers you've used for funneling on that other flank side that you're trying to take down, those are going to be the next target for your army. So this is the number one place your attack is going to fail. If for some reason you have a wall breaker fail, you need to drop your jump. You have to get your army inside. If your army walks around the outside, the attack's done. So that means you're somehow going to have to drop your jump spell, not where you originally intended it to be, because that bait is now gone. You're going to have to drop it a little bit further up to make sure that there's enough building bait there to get your bowlers and your witches to jump in. So now, as you have gotten through that first wall with the wall breakers, you're going to drop a rage spell, and you want your army to start tearing up the base. There are a couple of things you're going to want to look out for. Look out for giant bombs. If you see giant bombs starting to go off, hit your Grand Warden ability. You need to save as many troops as possible here in the beginning. You have to get down the Eagle, you have to get down the Infernos. Those are key. And once you get those down, if you have a large army still remaining, you have a really good chance of 3-starring the base. So you can see why it's really important that your Queen Walk with the Grand Warden hooks up with the main bulk of your army, because you want that Grand Warden to be able to use his ability on all of your troops. And you're also going to want to plan this to use the Grand Warden ability as you're taking on the clan castle troops, because if you have dragons coming out, you have balloons coming out, and you don't have a lot of troop power that can actually attack air, you just have your archer queen and your witches, you're going to need a little bit more time to be able to take out those air troops. So then it's just watching the rest of your attack and seeing where you can most effectively use your remaining rage spells. Either it's going to be on a large pack of bowlers, or you're going to be using it on your archer queen to keep her up even longer if she has a pack of healers that are still following her. Again, the longer you can hold off using her ability, the greater chance you have of 3-starring the base. So go ahead and use her ability when you absolutely have to. Otherwise, it's always better if you can use rages to keep her alive. Other great places for looking to use your rage spells is if your bowlers are trying to get through walls, or if they're trying to take on a lot of defenses, go ahead and drop a rage spell on them to get them through there faster. And then finally, you just have those 2 wizards for cleanup. Make sure that you're dropping those in places that are not going to be targeted by any other defenses. Make sure they're going to really help you do some cleanup since you only have 2 of them. And that's pretty much it. So you just need to practice an attack multiple times, attacking your clan mates, use it for farming to get the attack down. And then once you have everything down really well, then go ahead and adapt it to how it works best for you or how it fits the base you're attacking better. All right, guys, let's get to wrap this one up. So if you have any questions, be sure to leave a comment down below, or even better than that is join my Discord room. The link to it is in the description down below. And once you're in the Clash Tutor Discord server, there is a room there called Join the Kingdom. You can check that out if you're looking for a clan. I have several clans that are called the Kingdom, and you can check those out and see if there's a clan that fits your style of play that you want to try and join. If you haven't already subscribed to me, be sure to subscribe to me, hit that bell notification so you know when I've published another guide for you, and I'll catch you next time.